These blokes have bloody Hot Wheels cars, and when I say Hot Wheels cars, I mean life-size Hot Wheels cars. This is their way of promoting their car dealership. I mean, that's fucking crazy. I mean, it's commitment to marketing. Sure, they probably just wrote off the entire cost of the car as a tax write-off for marketing expenses. They've got some capital. Anyways, thought that was bloody interesting. G'day. You might be wondering why I'm walking along the side of the road. Well, I've just dropped the XC off to get the windows tinted. That's going to take a while because it's an XC. They can't just access a file that has the measurements and the dimensions of the XC Falcon's windows. So it's going to take a little bit. I dropped it off at Pro Class Tinting here in Wangara because I got recommended to them by literally everyone. So while they're dealing with that and tinting the windows of the XC, I'm walking down to the paint shop that I go to, which just so happens to be in the same area. I think it's Variety Paints and More in Wangara here in Perth. And these guys sell fucking everything to do with restoring your car, paint-wise, body-wise, all that sort of good shit. So that's where I get all my paint supplies from. And by paint supplies, I mean rebuild in a can. And I've got to shout out to a bloke who goes by the name of Clearly Deranged. And he is clearly deranged because the crazy bastard donated 25 bucks on the last video. Told me to get some more of that CRC. So I'm going to take his 25 bucks. I'm going to go get some more of that CRC because it's almost out. And if you guys donate money to me and say, go and get yourself some bloody rebuild in a can, some rust treating in a can, I'm going to bloody get it. I'm going to get it by the gallon load if possible, because on a quiet night, you can hear the XC in the garage rusting away. So anything I can do to prevent the XC rusting further, it's going to be beneficial. While I'm at the paint shop, I'm also going to grab the fuel tank kit because I've got to redo the fuel tank. It's got rust and shit in it. Probably get some more Pour 15 or something like that so I can treat the boot once I take the fuel tank out, make it look all pretty. But in the last episode, I was talking about how it's hard for Aussie car YouTubers to really get out there, get ahead, get into the algorithm, get seen, get noticed, get views. And you guys came through with some awesome suggestions of Aussie YouTube channels. I think Backshed got mentioned like a million bloody times. I hadn't heard of him before, so thank you for that recommendation. But if you want to see some other Aussie YouTubers, go into the comments of my previous video because there's heaps of them there. So I've got a lot of new channels that I subscribe to out of that. So thank you for all that. That's exactly what I wanted. Ooh, baby. And I did mention in the last episode, I would talk about how much I'd earned just from posting the XC. And for the first 4 years on YouTube, I made probably $1,000. I think it was like $1,052 from 4 years on YouTube. That was my total earnings for like 4 years of posting, you know, the XA build and all that sort of jazz. And then I posted the XC in September, which is only a couple of months ago now. And ever since then, obviously the channel's blown up. I've been posting more and more XC content, trying to keep it weekly. And I have been keeping it weekly until I went away to the US to go film that TV show where I just had no contact for like 5 weeks. And now I'm back to posting weekly. But since posting the XC, I've made $3,300, I think. So all up, total YouTube earnings, and I haven't spent a cent of it. It's about $4,300 or something like that, which is great. That's fantastic. It's definitely not nothing, but I also haven't spent a cent of that. I've kept that money the whole time. I haven't spent any of it. I haven't been spending any of that money until today. I thought I'll grab that money. I've still got it sitting there in the account, and I'll start putting it into the channel, putting it back into the channel. I feel like it's enough money. That's another thing about creating car content on YouTube. It's so bloody expensive that when over 4 grand makes me think like, mate, I can't really do too much of that. But that's bloody ridiculous. So I thought, nope, I'll grab that. I'll take that money. How do I invest that money into the channel? I'm not taking a cent of it. It's going, 100% of that money is going into the channel. And I'll show you over the next 2-3 videos exactly where every cent of that money goes. And I've already started. So today, the XC is getting its windows tinted. I thought, why would I pay for that out of my own bloody pocket? The XC has made the money on YouTube. That's responsible for making that money. So I'll put that money back into it. So we've got window tinting done. I'm getting the best window tint you can get by the best guys that I got recommended to, Pro Class Tint in Wangara, like I was saying before. That's only a small chunk. We're going down to the paint shop now. There's that $25 can of CRC, but that's donated to me by Mr. Clearly Deranged, so that doesn't come out of the budget. However, I'll be getting the fuel tank restoration kit to essentially take my fuel tank out, get rid of all the shit in it, give it a nice paint job, make it look fresh from the back. And on that note, we're almost there. So I'm going to go in, get the rebuild in a can, get the fuel tank kit, and then I got to go do Christmas shopping. So I'm not going to bloody film that unless you guys want to see me do some Christmas shopping, which is essentially me going to Woolies and getting everyone gift cards cards. That's really the spirit of Christmas these days, isn't it? Take this and go and get what you fucking want, because I do not have the mental capacity to make these decisions this time of the year on what I think you might find useful in your life. Anyways, here we are. Let's go in, get our shit, and then go pick up the XC from Pro Class, all tinted up and looking fresh.
Exhausts, you name it.
Bit of coffee down the road and watching some back shed, and then I'm back over to Pro Class Tint to go pick up the XC, and look at it sitting out the front there looking all, damn, that looks good.
And just like that, we are back home. Look at that. That looks so much better. And of course, as soon as I get home and start filming, the neighbour starts whippersnippering his lawn. So I'll see you guys in like 10 minutes when he stops, hopefully. All right, we're good. So the tint that I got was the darkest legal. So what's that? 35% front, 20% rears. I think there needs to be, with classic cars, there needs to be a medium. There needs to be a middle ground of too dark and sort of enough that you can still see the interior. I love being able to see the interior on these old cars. I think that's a key part of them. You need to be able to see inside, but at the same time, dark tint looks good. And I didn't want to be a cop magnet, so I went with a legal tint, and Pro Tint did an absolutely killer job. It looks freaking unreal. And for the guys that say it looks better without tint, the old classic cars shouldn't have tint on them, unlike you nerds, I actually drive this thing every bloody day. I don't drive it every, second full moon of the year sort of thing. This thing gets driven every single bloody day, and it's summertime at the moment. It's 40 bloody degrees out. So when it's like a fish tank and the sun's coming through those bloody windows, it's undrivable, it's not enjoyable. So I'm gonna drive this thing every day. It's a daily car. I want it to be a little bit cooler on the inside. And it was cool. I couldn't roll the windows down on the way home, and I was able to deal with the sun. It wasn't too hot in there. I wasn't sweating my ring hole out. It was actually quite pleasant. So, window tint, done. There goes $545 of the YouTube budget. And then I also got, well, this was free thanks to Clearly Deranged, so don't count that. For this, $319, take 25 bucks. Jeez, look, I love the paint store, but they don't have any prices on anything. A lot of the stuff doesn't have prices, and there's a bloody good reason why. 269 bucks for the tank sealer. Now, I could have just put diesel in the fuel tank and a chain and just shook it around to get rid of everything, and then the diesel sort of coats it, has that natural film on it, that oily film, can sort of protect it. But I thought, you guys have essentially paid for it by watching my videos, so I've got to get the good shit. I've got to get the bloody good stuff. So we've got the good shit, we're gonna do it properly, seal the tank up nicely, and stop it from just shooting rust into my bloody fuel filter. Now the only thing is, I filled the tank up on the way to get the windows tinted. So I'm gonna have to drive the shit out of it tomorrow, or I'm just gonna have to siphon some of the fuel out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna siphon the fuel out. Anyways, this adventure has taken all day. So I'm gonna get the car in, park her up, and we'll get back into it first thing tomorrow. All right, and we're back. It's the next day. So, straight off the rip, I've got to get this trailer plug sorted. On the tow bar, hook it in, patch it into the wiring in the boot. So, here's the plan. I've got this harness, which came off the Ford Ranger that I rebuilt.
And if you haven't watched that series, go back and check it out if you're into full drivings, because this is such a full driving YouTube channel. But I bought this crash damaged next gen Ranger, rebuilt it, sold it for a bit of profit, put it back into the channel.
It's a 12 pin, obviously don't need a 12 pin because I don't have the winch and all the accessories and all that sort of shit that full drives have. So just using this because I can use a 7 pin, a little bit more modern. It's better than the big round bloody thing. So I'm gonna cut this off and I'm gonna flip it 90 degrees because those holes line up with these holes on that. So I don't need to drill any more holes. I just need to cut that off and weld it, which is a bit more than drilling, but whatever. Spin this 90 degrees so that can mount like that. And then this will run up here, and the length of that is perfect. It actually comes to about there in the boot, which is where the wiring runs across. And I've got to splice those wires into these tail light wires. So, easy enough job. Let's get it done, because I've got to tow a trailer with this thing tomorrow. I've got to drop some things off and pick something up, which is something I bought, which doesn't come into the YouTube budget. It comes out of my personal budget. But it's equally as exciting as anything I could buy for the car. So let's get this hooked up so I can tow this trailer. Alright, and we're done skis. Basically just put it into a Deutsch plug and then added a little slider there so it doesn't maneuver around. But yeah, just spliced it and soldered it into the loom going here, but then realised that the right hand indicator ends over here, so then I had to run another bloody wire all the way along there and put it in. Then I got the common earth, instead of running a common earth through here, and then I probably should have run the common earth through here because I had a spare unused plug and then did it there and made it look clean. But instead, I've got the earth coming out from the plug and just using this earth right now. Hey, it's clean enough. Like I said, going to be doing a boot install sort of situation, so this will all be covered with carpeted wood and whatnot and a back plate and all that sort of good shit. So you won't even see it, but it's there and it's nice and it's Deutsch plugged up and all pretty. And now I've got a nice modern trailer connector. It's even Ford branded. I think it's upside down. Doesn't bloody matter. But yeah. But like I said, it's not staying on there for long. It's just going to be on there so I can tow a trailer to take some of the parts. And when I rebuilt the Focus and rebuilt the Ranger, I've still got shit laying around here. And then also go pick something up really cool, which I can't wait to show you guys, but that'll be tomorrow. We'll go do that tomorrow. Now, that is done. I was thinking of doing the fuel tank clean out today. However, I've got burgers, steel bumpers and burgers tonight in Alkimos, so I've got to be able to drive the XC to this car meet tonight. And I read the instructions for the fuel tank sealer, and it's like I've got to take the car out of action for like 4 or 5 days. It requires 96 hours of drying time for the sealer before you put fuel back into it. So, I mean, this, like I said, this is a daily car for me. I drive this thing daily. For me to take it out of action for 4 days is just, especially over the Christmas time, I want to drive it. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to have to time that. I think I might have to begin that when I get back tomorrow from doing the trailer situation. I might have to straight away take the fuel tank out, get that process underway. So that'll be tomorrow afternoon. Which sucks because that means I won't be able to drive it for the bloody weekend. Or should I just not seal it? Should I just do the rust blast shit and not worry about sealing it? Because it doesn't have any holes or anything in it. I don't know. I'll take it out, get rid of the rust and shit that's inside it, and I might just do that. I probably won't actually seal it, which sucks because the sealing part of that kit is what costs a lot of money. Nice. So we'll see. On to the next thing. And that next thing is, which is this Creality 3D scanner. Now, I can use my phone, you can use a phone. Obviously the phone has less computing power. What I'm gonna do when I actually scan these tail lights is I will bring the laptop out and connect it up to the laptop, which has a hell of a lot more computing power than this little iPhone here. As you can see, it uses IR and a normal sort of dooblewhacky to try and identify what it's looking at. Whilst it's in the car, it probably doesn't know what the hell I'm trying to scan and what I don't want scanned. And so I need to take the taillights out of the car, get them on a area where I can scan them and it's not interrupted by other stuff, give them a spray or something and all that sort of. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. I barely know, I've only just bloody bought this thing. But surely I can scan this here chainsaw. There we go, I think it's picking it up. Move closer, righto. Someone's heard me talking and they reckon it's playtime. Hang on, I've just realised the issue. I didn't press start on the scan. Like I said, I've only just bought it. All right, there we are, start. So, but it's hard to do this whilst holding the old GoPro. I'll put you down, I'll let you know when I'm done. Righto, so, I mean, yeah, not bad. Gives you a little colour map, little 3D scan of the old chainsaw. Pretty bloody cool. You might be thinking, well, what's the point of that? Well, the point is, so like I said, I can scan these taillight housings. I'm gonna cut these bastards out, get the unit, scan the unit in a little bit more of a controlled environment other than outside, because as you can see on this scan here, you know, it's picking up random bits and bobs and it's sort of like the end there, it's a bit cooked it. So put the taillight on a little, I've got one of those rotating tables, set the scanner up perfectly still, just get the taillight housing to spin around for a bit. Get a nice accurate scan, and then I can 3D print a whole new housing. Now you might be thinking, well, what are you gonna use to 3D print it? And that brings us to the next part of the budget. That is that I bought the Bamboo Lab P2S printer. This one right here with the AMS system and all that sort of jazz. This was pretty much recommended by everyone when it came to printing car parts. I also got the carbon fiber filaments and pretty much everything that I needed to print. Essentially, I could print engine components with this shit. Now, I do have the Prusa Mark III, however, I did cook the hot end of it, and it melted some of the parts. The Prusa, a lot of its components are actually made from 3D printed parts. All this is 3D printed itself, which is handy because you can print your own parts for the printer. However, it did mess with some of the stuff down here, and I've never been able to do a reliable print since that happened. So I thought, this is for the builds. This is to make parts for the Falcon, make new taillight housings, make the interior parts that I need. If I can make it with this and not pay Rare Spares half of my bloody income, that would be great. That would be very desirable. The great thing is about old Falcons is that just by printing a couple of parts, it pays for itself because parts are bloody expensive, the reproduction parts. All right, so as you can see, we're quickly chewing through the money, but like I said, spending it on shit only helps the channel, helps the car, helps the XC, helps me provide some kind of entertaining content for you guys. Now, next is something that doesn't cost us money. Actually, it does, because everything fucking costs money, bloody cars. But I gotta clean all this shit up real quickly because I need to move the XA forward. I don't need to take the engine out of the XA, but I can't take the engine out of the XA until ICE Ignition sends me back the distributor and the ignition module, which pretty sure they should have sent it this week. I gotta chase that up. I need to get it back from them, put it back in, test the car, get it running, make sure it's all good, and then I got to take the engine out. But I can't take the engine out until I get those ignition parts and do that. So short of that, I need to take the engine out of the XC, which is the 2JZ that is sitting in there. I need to get the engine out of it because that needs to be sold. And I've got it up for $6,000 and no one's biting. Totally rust-free XC ute shell. Totally, it's pretty much good to go. Anything less than $6,000 isn't worth selling it for. I might as well just cut it apart and use it for the XA. I know that sucks. It's just I would much rather build the XC because it's totally rust-free. All the bodywork's pretty much done in it. But I'm so deep into this build, I just can't not do this build. Like if I just took all of this and put it in the XC, that would be the easiest thing to do. But I've put so many years into this XA, I need to complete it. I need to see it through. So XC's gotta go. Let's roll this XA forward a little bit, get the engine crane out, pull that 2JZ out of the XC.
Now you might be wondering, what does a 2JZ do in an XC Falcon Ute? Well, that is a bloody good question. Back when I had a warehouse and a hell of a lot more room, I started this project, but now that I live in a little schmoll house with a little schmoll garage, I don't have the room or the bloody money to be doing 6 different bloody projects at once. So the XC has got to go. All right, 2JZ is out of the XC, sitting on the engine stand now. And then I've had to quickly rush out to Steel Bumpers and Burgers in Alkimos. It's the last one for the year, so it should be a pretty bloody good night. Everyone should be coming out tonight. What's better than burgers and steel bumper cars? I think in my case, I'm gonna get HSB, or as they call them here in WA, meat boxes, which is very unadvertising. You know, the usual, chips, some lamb, hot sauce, mayo, dump it all on top. That and steel bumper cars, schmicko. Heading there now, and I'll see you guys once we get there, once I've got some food, see what kind of sick cars have come out. And if you live around North Perth area, and you're not coming to Steel Bumpers and Burgers in Alkimos, it's probably because your mum's your dad. I don't know what's wrong with you, but you got to be there. Anyways, I'll see who's there. So in true fashion, I didn't actually pull out the camera and record anything. I was just too busy having a good time talking to the people and just talking about cars. This Countach is a kit car, that's the LS1, so don't get too bloody angry about it.
All right, you know the dealio. Don't like talking about car shows or filming car shows too much, but I mean, obviously, top car there was the Countach kit car. Spoke to the owner of that for bloody ages. Yeah, it wasn't too big of a turnout last night, but I mean, it's Christmas time. People got shit to do. I don't blame them. Actually, I do a little bit. What else have you got to do other than drive your classic car to a burger night? Also, on that, I did get an HSP, but I got a Katsu chicken HSP, or a Katsu chicken meat box for you Western Australians. It was Katsu chicken on chips with the sauce and everything. Oh, wild combination. But speaking of wild combination, look at it, eh? This is pure daily activities. Scrap run, then I got to go to the chiropractor, probably from driving that bloody thing, and then we're going to go pick up this special marketplace buy. All right, I was going to film a little bit more, but I was in an absolute rush, even though I planned the right time and everything like that. Got the trailer, hooked it up. Lights work perfectly. I mean, the trailer plug situation is fucking mint, if I do say so myself. I had to take all the scrap metal to the tip, and then I had to go to the chiropractor, but then I was running a little bit late, so I went to the chiropractor first, and the chiropractor ran overtime. So then I raced to the scrap metal place, and would you fucking believe it, I park up, I turn the XC off, I dump all the scrap metal, and the XC won't turn back on. I'm already running late to go pick up this item that's in the trailer right now, and the XC just will not start. It cranks over, and it wasn't even sputting or farting about, so I'm like, there's no spark. And that's when I realised, I looked at the gauges, and none of the gauge needles were moving. I was like, I've lost power through the instrument cluster as well. I was like, so something's happened here, fuse is blown or something like that. So I check the fuses are okay. Meanwhile, I'm holding up the line at the bloody rubbish dump, and I'm popping the bonnet of this old shitbox car that's making fun of EVs. Meanwhile, EVs are probably driving past me. So I'm fart-assing about with the bonnet open, looking like an absolute splooge. Some bloke comes over, he's like, you all right? I'm like, not really. So I got him to crank the engine while I jammed a screwdriver into the ignition lead, and just to see if spark would come out. No spark, got no spark. So I was like, all right, well that was obvious from the way it was cranking over, and you know, fuel filter was full. Still got heaps of fuel in the car, and it wasn't even farting around, so no spark. I thought, fuck me dead, mate. I'm stuck. This couldn't happen if when I go to the cafe or something, or when I go to the shops or something. No, it has to be whilst I've got a trailer that I've rented attached to it, and I'm on a time limit, and I'm meant to be somewhere. Anyways, I thought the only thing that can really affect that and that ignition runs through is the ignition coil. And it still has the factory looking Motorcraft ignition coil on it. So like all the plugs on that, it's earth, the 12 volts that was going to it. I plugged them, unplugged them, plugged them, unplugged them, moved them around to scratch it in case it corroded or something. What do you know, that was it. Just corroded connection on the old, it just happened to be, I'm driving along, I turn it off, and it just didn't want to start again. Couldn't get the amps through the corrosion. Got to back it up and running. Zoomed on out of there. Met old mate, picked up the item that I've picked up, and I've just made it home. So let me show you what we got. Look at it. 360 kiosk. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you've probably seen in the background my original Xbox kiosk. So it's going to go nicely next to that. So that way I can play V8 Supercars 2 on the OG Xbox, and then Need for Speed Most Wanted on this kiosk. Would ya bloody look at it. I mean, it's rare enough to get just the OG Xbox kiosk, but to have both of these is insane. I've been looking for an Xbox 361 for quite a while. One that wasn't destroyed. This one's in perfect condition. Everything works on it. Now, I know this is a car YouTube channel, but I mean, the nerd inside you needs to appreciate this. I'm sure. Anyways, back to it. And by back to it, I mean back to the budget, back to spending the money on the XC. Now, I had a little bit of money remaining out of the YouTube money pool, and it was either buy air conditioning for the Falcon. I found a real cheap kit on eBay for 750 bucks. I really want to run that. Or I was going to buy a bunch of car builder stuff, sound deadening, all that sort of jazz, because I really need to do the interior, put the sound deadening through it. As we go into summer, the firewall and this thing's getting pretty hot. You can hear everything, and I need to start the boot install. So at the same time that I take the fuel tank out and do that, I want to prepare the boot, you know, get that sorted. So the next thing that we have bought is a whole bunch of stuff from car builders. I bought it from Autobarn. It's car builder stuff, but I bought it from Autobarn. So I'm gonna go to Autobarn now, go pick all that stuff up. And that reduces the budget to around, I think it was at like 1,300. I think all the car builder stuff cost like 550 bucks. Not too bad, because there was a sale on Autobarn. So we're down to about 700-ish, I want to say, which might be enough to get the aircon. But at the same time, I don't want to use every single cent and then have nothing left in case other stuff arises. So I think the way we do it, the way we run it, is we start with these jobs. We start doing the fuel tank restore. We get this 3D printer up and running, which is on its way. So that should be here this week. And we start doing the car builders, sound deadening, all that sort of jazz. And see how we go. If anything else we need to buy, if there's any other little bits and bobs, we've got whatever's left of the YouTube pool of money we can take from that. But enough chit chat. Let's go down to Autobarn, pick this shit up. All right, and we're back. This is what we grabbed from the old Autobarn. Probably need to not do that. Anyways, shit ton of car builder stuff. We got the acoustic liner. We have the insulator. Which one's this one? This is the roof. So this is keeping all the heat out, because I'm not sure if you've ever seen under the roof lining of these things, but this is just a thin sheet of steel, and then there's basically nothing other than the roof liner itself. So this is a must to keep the heat out. Now I mentioned it was either this or the air conditioning kit on eBay, but I've just had the windows tinted, which is making the car so much cooler. Like it just makes it so much easier to drive on these hot Australian summer days. I'm not getting in it and it's just already an oven. It's so much better just having the windows tinted. Now with the car builder's insulator on the roof, that should keep out so much more of the heat. Not only that, but the mass noise liner, the acoustic liner, the sound deadener, all that in combination not only makes the car a much quieter, more enjoyable ride, but it keeps out a lot of the heat from the floor pan, from the firewall, pretty much everywhere else. So instead of spending 750 bucks on this cheap Chinese air conditioning kit that was going to run an electric compressor, which I'm still super keen on doing and I will probably buy later on, instead of doing that now, for slightly more of a price, I was able to get awesome quality stuff as well as the best quality window tint. So cheap Chinese way of cooling the car, or pretty much the best of the best stuff for another way of cooling the car. So that's the way I look at it. And just off topic as well, I just learned that Greg Biffle has passed away. There's sad news that Greg Biffle and his family were flying to go see Cletus McFarland. Surely most of you guys would have heard of Cletus and his YouTube channel. Greg was a huge part of that, especially recently. Ex-NASCAR driver. Loved watching any video that had Greg in it, loved watching it. So to hear that him and his entire family have passed away in that plane crash is just a bit bloody fucking. This is only days after the Bondi incident, so it just feels like coming into Christmas this year, there's just a lot going on. In memory of Greg, I mean, there's not much I can do here in Australia, but I do have this Mountain Dew Baja Blast that I bought from Walmart when I was in America, and I brought it back. I've been saving it for something. I didn't know what I was saving it for. I've never tried it before. I know they love Mountain Dew on Cletus McFarland's channel, and the Mountain Dew Baja Blast especially. I thought that's pretty bloody American. It's pretty NASCAR of me to open this up. And I've just noticed its expiration date is in a couple of days' time, so. Oh fuck, that is refreshing. It's like a lime flavored Mountain Dew. Oh man, that is really good. All right, I understand now. I understand the obsession with Baja Blast. All right, let's get this stuff out of here. Can't really do it with one hand. It's very hard to. All right, so we've got all the car builder's stuff. We've got the fuel tank sealer kit. We're gonna hit this out. We're gonna pump this out in one metric hit. So fuel tank out, I've been driving this thing around, draining it to as close as I'm comfortable with the needle going to E without it just suddenly going and me being stuck. So pretty sure there's only a couple of liters left in here. Rip this fuel tank out. We're gonna finish that section because I've gone over to the old Bunnings and I've grabbed 2 pieces of RHS, slap them in this silly little vise that I have here so I can properly bend a piece of metal to go in there. As you can see, this is my last attempt. I was trying to bend it along here with a hammer and had a horrible time. Anyways, I've got these so I can make a suitable press to clamp it and bend the steel. So we're gonna make the piece to go here, repair this section, fully coat all this in here. Now it looks like the boot does look in pretty good condition, and it is. It's actually in fantastic condition. All through there is pretty good. So we're gonna coat all through here. We're gonna get the noise liners and all that sort of jazz in the right positions throughout the interior. Do all that. We're gonna make up the custom sort of inlay that'll sit in here. That's why I've got the carpet. I think this is the, yeah, so the 4-way stretch carpet. I'm not sure how much is in there. I might have to go and get another one. We'll make the board in here with the carpet. I had these left over from when I built that Ford Ranger when I swapped the tray out. So these are the tray lights for a Ford Ranger. Just run off of 12 volt, and I'm thinking with the panel that comes up here, if I just sort of place that sort of in that panel there, so when you open the boot, it'll act as like an earth switch or something, and these lights will come on. That'll look, I reckon that would look pretty bloody cool. Makes it look a little bit more OEM, just having that recessed light there, one on each side. I kept them from the Ranger build, and I thought, oh, I'll use those one day. Today's the day. I finally get to use a car part that I said I would use one day. That never happens. You have to understand how excited I am for that. Well, so that's all going on. We'll have the fuel tank getting treated. Now, I did say I'm not gonna give it the coat. There's the coat in there, the rust stop coat. You have to leave it for like 96 hours to seal any pinholes and all that sort of jazz. There's no pinholes in the tank. The tank's good. It's good to go. I just need to get the rust out of it. And so what if I only clean the rust out and it starts to rust again in like 5-10 years time? Who gives a shit? By that time, it'll probably have a fuel cell in it, running a 393 stroker or something like that. But while I'm here, one more thing. I do just want to check out the ignition coil because that almost left me stranded at the rubbish dump the other day. Now, when I was at the rubbish dump and the car just wouldn't start, I ended up, if I can maneuver the old
Camerino in here. All I ended up doing was just taking, oh, everything is hot. Excellent. I took off this positive connection here, this one here. I took that off and I just jammed it on back and forth on its terminal. And that's essentially what then allowed me to start the car. Now, I don't want that to happen again. I don't want it to happen while I'm at the cafe. It might be an easy fix, but I don't want to be seen opening the bonnet to my car and fucking around with it in public. It'll just be a bad time. So take it off the engine block, get some sandpaper on those terminals, get it back in. I've also got to dress it up. I've got an idea, but I'll let you guys see that. All right, monster ignition coil, done. Makes it sound like it's a good ignition coil. It's probably gonna overheat now, but hey. Anyways, that's it from me for now. I'm gonna get this edited and out so I can get my next video out on Boxing Day, which is this Friday, I think. I think Christmas is on a Thursday. Anyways, next video is gonna be out Boxing Day, and that's when we're gonna be doing fuel tank, car builders, shit all through the car and all that sort of other jazz. And actually using the parts that we've bought. Hopefully the printer is here by then and I can experiment with that. Have a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the time off. Eat a shitload of food. Drink a shitload of drink. If you haven't hit like on the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider even giving a subscribe. I'm trying to hit 15K by the end of the year, which means I have to upload on Boxing Day, and that has to be a banger. And then I'm gonna upload New Year's Eve, which will also be a banger. So that's 2 banger videos. So many bangers, I'm gonna have to have some mashed taters in there somewhere, but that's enough shit talk from me. I'll see you guys on Boxing Day.